Most men believe attraction begins the moment they touch a woman. They think the first hug, holding hands, or a kiss is what creates chemistry. But if you've ever met a woman who couldn't stop thinking about a man she barely touched, then you already know there's something much more powerful at work. Long before physical attraction reaches its peak, emotional attraction has already decided whether she's drawn to you or not. This is where many men unknowingly lose their advantage. They become so focused on making physical progress that they completely ignore the mental and emotional connection happening beneath the surface. The irony is that when a woman feels emotionally connected to you, physical closeness often becomes a natural consequence instead of something you have to chase. Real attraction begins when a woman enjoys the way you make her feel. She starts replaying your conversations in her mind. She remembers how calm you were, how comfortable she felt around you, and how different the interaction felt compared to everyone else she meets. Those memories create anticipation, and anticipation is one of the strongest psychological forces behind attraction. Throughout this lesson, I'm going to show you why the men who create the deepest attraction aren't usually the ones trying the hardest. They're the ones who understand that before a woman wants your touch, she first has to enjoy your presence. Once you understand that difference, you'll stop chasing chemistry and start creating it naturally. The first shift happens when a woman feels truly seen. Not admired, not flattered, seen. There's a difference, and most men miss it completely. Compliments are easy to give. Almost anyone can tell a woman she's beautiful, but very few men make her feel like they've noticed something about her that everyone else overlooks. When you only focus on her appearance, you're communicating the same message she's heard countless times before. It may be appreciated, but it rarely creates a lasting impression. What stays with her is the man who pays attention to the small details she didn't expect anyone to remember. Maybe she mentions a hobby she's passionate about, a place she's dreams of visiting, or a funny story from her childhood. Most people hear those things and immediately move on. A man who creates emotional attraction listens differently. He remembers. Days later, he naturally brings it up because he was genuinely paying attention, not because he was trying to impress her. Something changes when that happens. She no longer feels like she's having another ordinary conversation. She begins to feel understood. That's a feeling people rarely forget. The goal isn't to memorize facts about her like you're studying for an exam. It's to become curious about who she really is. When your attention is genuine instead of performative, she senses it almost immediately. And once a woman feels that someone values her thoughts as much as her appearance, you've created a level of emotional connection that physical attraction alone can never replace. One of the fastest ways to build attraction without touching a woman is by making her curious instead of making yourself constantly available. Curiosity is powerful because the human mind naturally wants to complete what feels unfinished. That's why people keep thinking about conversations that ended too soon or moments that left them wanting more. Many men unknowingly destroy that curiosity by giving everything away immediately. They reply to every message within seconds, reveal every detail about their lives on the first meeting, and make themselves available whenever she's free. While it may seem like they're showing interest, they're actually removing the mystery that keeps someone emotionally invested. That doesn't mean you should play games or pretend to be busy. It means allowing the connection to develop at its own pace. Let there be moments where she wonders what you're doing. Let conversations end while they're still enjoyable instead of dragging them on until they become repetitive. Leave her with something to think about rather than trying to say everything at once. This creates emotional anticipation. She begins looking forward to the next conversation because there are still parts of you she hasn't discovered. Instead of feeling like she's already figured you out, she becomes interested in learning more. The strongest attraction often grows in the space between interactions, not during them. When a woman catches herself wondering what you're doing, smiling as she remembers something you said, or looking forward to hearing from you again, you've achieved something far more valuable than temporary excitement. You've become memorable, and memorable men are the ones who stay on a woman's mind long after the conversation ends. Another way attraction grows without physical touch is through the way you communicate. Most men focus almost entirely on what they're going to say, but women often respond more strongly to how you say it. Your tone, your pace, and your emotional presence can completely change how your words are received. Think about the people you naturally enjoy listening to. They don't rush every sentence. They aren't talking over everyone else or trying to fill every second with noise. They speak with intention. They're comfortable with silence because they don't feel pressured to constantly prove themselves. That kind of calmness is surprisingly attractive because it signals confidence without ever announcing it. The same applies when you're talking to a woman. Slow down. Give your words room to breathe. If she tells you something meaningful, don't rush to respond. Take a brief pause. Let what she said sink in and answer thoughtfully. That small moment communicates that you're actually listening instead of simply waiting for your turn to speak. The conversations women remember aren't always the funniest or the most exciting. They're the ones that made them feel emotionally present. When a man speaks with genuine interest, asks thoughtful questions, and allows the conversation to unfold naturally, she begins to associate him with a sense of comfort and emotional safety. That's what makes your voice powerful. It's not about sounding smooth or rehearsed. It's about creating an atmosphere where she feels heard, understood, and completely at ease. When you can do that consistently, attraction begins to grow quietly long before any physical contact ever takes place. Perhaps the most powerful way to create attraction without touching a woman is through your eyes. Not because eye contact is some secret trick, but because it communicates something words often cannot. The way you look at someone tells them whether you're distracted, insecure, genuinely interested, or completely present. Most people rarely experience undivided attention anymore. Conversations are interrupted by phones, wandering eyes, and constant distractions. So, when a woman meets a man who is fully present with her, she notices the difference immediately. She feels it before she can even explain it. Good eye contact isn't about staring or trying to appear intense. In fact, that usually has the opposite effect. It's about holding her gaze naturally while she speaks, showing through your expression that you're interested in understanding her, rather than simply waiting for your chance to talk. A relaxed smile, calm eyes, and genuine attention create a sense of emotional safety that can't be faked. There's another reason this matters. Eye contact slows the moment down. Instead of the conversation feeling rushed, it begins to feel intentional. She senses that you're comfortable enough to be present without constantly searching for the next thing to say. That calm confidence is surprisingly rare. When a woman feels that kind of presence, she starts associating you with comfort, trust, and emotional connection. Those feelings don't disappear when the conversation ends. They stay with her, and that's why the strongest attraction often begins long before two people ever touch. It begins the moment someone feels truly seen without a single word needing to be spoken. If there's one lesson I want you to leave with, it's this. Attraction isn't something you force, it's something you cultivate. The men who create the strongest emotional connections aren't constantly trying to impress women. They're creating experiences that women genuinely enjoy being part of. That's a very different mindset. Think back to everything we've covered. It wasn't about using clever lines or pretending to be someone you're not. It was about making a woman feel understood, allowing curiosity to grow naturally, communicating with calm confidence, and being fully present when you're together. None of those things require physical touch, yet each one leaves a lasting emotional impression. The biggest mistake you can make is trying to rush the process. When a man is impatient, he starts chasing reassurance. He wants immediate results, immediate validation, and immediate certainty. But real attraction doesn't usually work that way. It builds gradually through repeated moments that make a woman feel comfortable, respected, and emotionally connected. Ironically, the less pressure you place on the interaction, the more natural your confidence becomes. You're no longer trying to win her over. You're simply allowing her to experience who you are. That's the difference between a man who is seeking approval and a man who quietly attracts it. As members of this community, I want you to focus less on asking, how do I make her like me? And more on asking, how do I create an interaction she'll genuinely enjoy? When you make that shift, you'll discover that the deepest attraction almost always begins in the mind, long before it ever becomes physical.